Parashat Va'etchanan, and Va'etchanan is really teaching us about our connection to the Ein Sof, our connection to infiniteness. And so it seems like very, very cruel that, like Moshe Rabbeinu is doing all this to get us out of exile and bring us to the outskirts of Israel. And when it's time to enter, he's not coming in with us. And it sounds like a very unproportional, what do you call it? Punishment, right? So sorry. Okay. And it seems like a very unproportional punishment. So we want to deconstruct it a bit, and and see what's going on here. So remember, I'm always telling you, Eretz Israel is not just a place; it's like an internal place, right? And the exile in the Torah always symbolizes our own inner exile, right? And our whole focus in life, our whole purpose in life, is to move from this exile in our consciousness to this freedom in our consciousness, which we also refer as infiniteness. And who do we call the infinite one? Hashem, right? Why do we call him Ein Sof or El Shaddai? We call him Ein Sof or El Shaddai because there's always another surprise around the corner, right? So there's always another surprise around the corner in a negative way. And there's always another surprise around the corner in a positive way. So it's like when you connect to Hashem on the level of okay, Hashem, I'm connected to you, but I'm going to the whatever, to the doctor, to the lawyer, to the bank, right? So I'm connected to you, but I need you in a vessel. I can't connect to you, Hashem, how are you going to solve this issue, regardless of the physical realm, regardless of how I see it manifest the miracle in the world. I need to see the materialistic manifestation of it in the world. I need to see the tools through which you manifest this thing in the world for me, right? But then there's a higher level. I want to connect to Hashem on the level of I say, I don't know how you're going to manifest it for me, right? I don't even care if you're going to manifest it for me. That's even a higher level. I want to be connected to you, Hashem, on the level of what King David taught me. I trust your might, or I trust your chesed, not your might, your chesed. I trust your chesed, and already yageli bibi shotecha. When I'm in trusting position, when I pre-position myself in trusting consciousness, right, and bitachon, in this faithful phase, then already I'm rejoicing, regardless of the outcomes. So already on the way to my salvation, hopefully, I'm already rejoicing. And the more I'm rejoicing, the more my consciousness allows positive outcomes, positive manifestation in my life, right? What's the other side of that consciousness? The other side of this consciousness is I'm always checking. So what's the spiritual power looks like in the world, right? I'm always I don't really want to believe that there is a spiritual force in my life. I don't really embrace it to my heart. I always think, what do I need to do about it, right? So, okay, so we need to do, but the question is where my consciousness is. Is my consciousness in the place of Hashem can do it regardless of what my doing is, right? So it also very much connects in my head to, because I had a conversation with someone today and I realized that the idea of the world of Atzilut and Asiyah are misconceptualized also. So somebody said to me something that, they did something to manifest a situation in their life or to protect themselves from something in their lives. So they said, I did something in Olam Asiyah. And I'm this needs to be clarified. Olam Atzilut is the visionary world, is the world of being able or envisioning the best outcomes, envisioning Hashem in my life, envisioning the spiritual force running my life. And Olam Asiyah doesn't necessarily mean that I'm doing anything. Both Olam Atzilut and Olam Asiyah are not God knows where out there. They're both in here. Okay? Or more practically saying, Atzilut is here and Asiyah is here. Because it's really both of in my heart, exactly. The Atzilut is I think about it. What do you mean I think about it? I learn about it. I read Hasidic stories about it. I talk about it, right? I learn Torah and I want to, live that in that way of consciousness. But then it's really, really hard to put it into action when something is happening in my life. And I'm getting all anxious again. So Olam Asiyah is that place where I'm not getting anxious because I'm in Olam Asiyah, not on a practical level, on a consciousness level. Did I make myself clear? Not really.
The last sentence.
I think that Olam Asiyah is actually doing, that my going to the bank is my Olam Asiyah, that my going to the doctor is my Olam Asiyah. Right?
Well, isn't it the world of action?
Yes.
Okay.
But no. Yes, but no.
Okay.
In a way, it is. But also, Olam Asiyah is a part of my consciousness.
Okay, what is it?
Olam Asiyah, Bri'ah, Yetzirah, and Asiyah are all levels of consciousness. Right. Not only we tend to think that Olam Atzilut is my consciousness, and Bri'ah, Yetzirah, Asiyah are different levels of manifestation, as if I'm manifesting anything in the world. But I'm not manifesting anything in the world. Hashem is manifesting it all. Enon milvado, right? We say it 24 times a day. Enon milvado. There's nothing in the world except for God's desire for the world. He is mesovev kol hasibod. He is the one who is basically turning this carousel. Right? This is what it basically means. Mesovev kol hasibod. He's the reason behind all reasons. Right? You come to say, something happened because this happened, because that happened, because that happened, right? You think, I am this way because of my genes, and my children are this way because of whatever psychological damage that was brought to us and we bring over to our children. Yes, there is all that reasoning behind that. But then behind all that, there's just a simple reason, and epigenetics comes to prove it. Behind all that, and the new neuropsychology comes to prove it, that really it doesn't matter what genes I was given and what genes I'm giving over to my children and the next generations. What matters, everything is in here. Everything. Everything is in here means everything is God.
But are you saying there's certain things that aren't genetic?
Basically, we're saying that genes play no role in our lives anymore in modern science. Genes are a patry for a reality to happen, to occur, but it's our consciousness that will make them evolve.
Well, that's why how you have two kids that kind of grow up in the same house with the same parents under the same conditions.
Right, in a way,
and they're completely different from each other.
Right, in a way, the older science also had already started talking about it, but as we get old, as science progresses, we understand it deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
But this is basically what Yiddishkeit comes to tell us. So when Hashem basically comes and tells Moshe, you're not going to enter the land, and we have all these excuses that he's not going to enter the land because he did the rock and this and that. And Am Yisrael wanted to give him the excuse, and he wanted to give Am Yisrael the excuse, and all those reasonings. The bottom line is there is a much higher message in this parsha, which comes to teach us something much more unique. It comes to teach us that Hashem basically tells Moshe Rabbeinu, you are the master of freedom. You are the one who knows the secret of what it is to be in exile and what it is to come out of exile and become a real free soul. so to speak, a real hippie. You know what? You are the master and the teacher of the freedom of the soul. Therefore, you have no reason to enter the land. Because really the entering of the land is the physical manifestation, but also the land is already within you. You're the master of what Eretz Yisrael is all about. You understand the meaning of freedom. Eretz Yisrael is another level for us to come into, to feel as if we're free. Yes, we have a place, every nation has its place. You can also go back to the practical and physical ideas of the world. But it's much higher than that. We want to live on a level where it doesn't matter where I am. In a way, don't take the Eretz Yisrael as a concept of a place. Take it as a concept of like, it doesn't matter if I'm healthy, I can or not, I can be happy. It doesn't matter if so sometimes you see like all those athletes, right? And all of a sudden he dies from at the age of 50 from a heart attack. Or from 40 even, Everybody goes, but he was an athlete and he was so strong and he was so healthy and he was eating and he was sleeping and he was everything. How come he died, right?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't living on a level of beyond. So we can live on that level of like the reasoning is all there, but the inner freedom is not. On the contrary, contrast to that, we want to live on the level of like maybe the reasoning isn't there, but the freedom to the concept of heaven is the limit. The skies is the limit. It is there. Are you living in that place? Right? You want to live in that place. The skies is the limit. No matter like the doctor tells you have 2 days to live, God forbid, and you show him 40 years later, you're still alive. And it happened. Right? So many times. I know at least, who knows, a handful of stories like that. Right? I can't count the number of stories I know like that. Right? So it's like we're going through this awful plague of committing suicide in this country now. It's unbelievable what's going on. And it's like, and what's infusing it? That they're telling people emotional injury is worse than physical injury.
Oh, yeah.
As if the person who is physically injured is not emotionally going through the same traumas as an emotional injury, right? Or as a what we call post-trauma, right?
Right.
But you know what the difference is? The difference is that a person that is physically injured is driven to heal themselves physically. All their energy is going towards healing themselves physically. Then later we come to deal with the emotional injury. A person who wasn't physically injured is completely absorbed in their trauma. And we increase it or deteriorate their situation by telling them post-trauma is such a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
And or we come to a person with childhood post-trauma and we tell them, oh, childhood post-trauma, that's, it will take you a lifetime to heal that,
If at all.
If at all, exactly. What kind of hope are we giving them? Are we giving them the hope of Moshe Rabbeinu? Are we giving them the hope of living beyond and above? Are we giving them the hope of the skies is the limit? Judaism wants to give the message the skies is the limit, no matter what. And if we want to heal this awful plague that we're going through now of just committing suicide, this is what we need. Instead of telling the authorities, why isn't the authorities taking care of it? Why is Misrad Abiyud or Misrad Abitachon or Misrad this or Misrad that is not taking care of that? We need to come to ourselves and say, what do we believe about emotional well-being? In general, today we don't look at, in the well-being world, we're less talking about healing illness, and we're more talking about well-being. It's very different. I don't want to not only be sick, I want to be healthy. Mm-hmm. And my well-being starts from within. The outside, the body, is only a reflection of my inner existence, of my consciousness. This is what Yiddishkeit comes to tell us, and especially in this parsha. This parsha is our connection to the Ein Sof. This Parashat Va'etchanan is our connection to the understanding that the sky is the limit. And Dafka, by not coming into Eretz Yisrael, Moshe is teaching us that. He's teaching us the outcome is not the answer. The answer is within. The answer is by having Eretz Yisrael inside you, not by entering a certain place, not by something. If this and that happens, then I will be happy. No, I can be happy now. I can be happier if that and this thing happens, but I can be happy now. I can rejoice over life now. There's always something to be grateful and rejoice over now.
I used to wonder why God had Moshe like look into the land, like, and why was that enough? You know, it was kind of why that? Like, you can climb up that mountain and look into the land.
Because in a way, that's what we're doing. Looking into the land, and that is that symbol of looking into what it would be like when I will be rich, or what it will be like when I find the perfect spouse, or what it will be like when when my doctor comes up with the solution.
Right.
Right. That's Eretz Yisrael. That's overlooking Eretz Yisrael.
All possibilities are available.
Right. And Moshe Rabbeinu comes to teach us, or Hashem really comes to teach us through Moshe Rabbeinu. All these classes he had taught us through Moshe Rabbeinu. From the day Moshe Rabbeinu was born, he's teaching us that, a person can be born with such a light like Moshe Rabbeinu. And a person can actually be born with a potential to arrogance and become the humblest person in the world. And all these classes Hashem is teaching us, and also on the day of his death, or like at his deathbed, basically, Hashem comes to teach us a class through Moshe Rabbeinu. You're always looking at what's going to be when your Eretz Yisrael is achieved, when your doctor is, when your lawyer this, when your spouse this, when you're this that, right? And Hashem says, no, I want to teach you something. Yes, there's Eretz Yisrael. Okay, fine. You want to get to your Eretz Yisraels, right? To whatever it is, health, wealth, whatever it is, right? But then there is this now. Just enjoy where you are now. Learn to enjoy where you are now, what you have now.
That makes sense, but what about somebody, because we know somebody like this, who fought in Lebanon, saw his best friend's head get blown off? And I mean, what do you say to somebody? How do you heal somebody like that?
I heard the most amazing, one of my husband's best friend's daughter. My husband's best friend got killed at a terror attack. His wife was severely injured, and their two kids were in the car also injured that day. The wife is, I don't want to say never going to heal, but she has a lifetime, forget the trauma, physical conditions that, and one of their daughters, they're all amazing. I don't remember how many kids they have, a lot. All of them are amazing. One of their daughters, her name is Orit Malk. I very much recommend to Google her, and maybe you can find translation on YouTube. And she has like a smile from here to here. After losing her dad at the age of 16, 17, and being basically almost like the mom of the house, and because she was one of the older daughters, and dealing with a mother with a physical condition who, after a little while, they took her back from the hospital and took care of her at home all these years, even though she was bed-bounded for many years. And after that, she lost another two brothers in the army.
Oh my God.
One a couple of years after the father was killed. One she lost on October. And then she lost her cousin on October 7th, who was like her second father, because after her father was killed, that cousin became like the father of the family. And he was like in his 40s already. So he was like one of the older cousins. He became like the father of the family. And then later she lost another brother in the army during this war. 5 people she lost in this war in the last few years. And she walks with a smile from here to here.
Not like
And-
me. I go around depressed to go war.
So she goes and lectures, and she wrote a book, and she's lecturing, and somebody comes up to her at a lecture and says to her, "Thank you so much. You gave me my heart back. I only lost my son,
Right.
and you lost 5 people, and you walk around with a smile like that. I'm sure I can manifest that smile within me too." So she, from her place, came and said, "But you lost your son. It's much worse than everything that I've lost in life." She said, "Yeah, but I lost one thing in life. You lost all these things in life, right? So I can also find the power within me." So I think it comes to real, and also, okay, I've gone through 2 terror attacks, deadly terror attacks, right? We all have, I can say, like my childhood and this and that also, like you can always list the traumas that you have in life. I'm not coming to, God forbid, make anything smaller, but we all have our traumas that we carry. Every one of us looks at the other sometimes with your trauma is bigger, and that's okay. But I need to look at my trauma like it's always smaller than yours. That's the secret.
Mm-hmm.
The only question is, will I be wise enough to pick up that secret?
Mm-hmm.
Will I be
Strong
courageous
enough.
enough, strong enough to pick up that secret?
Mm-hmm.
You were in a terrorist attack?
Yeah.
What happened?
Once I almost was lynched. Yeah,
Where in Jerusalem?
in Ramallah. We got lost with our car going to Jerusalem.
Oh no.
And we got lost in Ramallah, and
Oh God, no.
and our car got stuck, and they realized that our car is not moving.
Uh-oh.
So it was in the middle of a construction site,
Oh God.
and they had all these bricks, and these bricks started flying on our car,
Oh God, no.
and
It was you and your husband?
no, it was me and someone else. It was a long story, whatever. Like, we were at a demonstration that day. It was like the big time of Oslo. And my husband actually got arrested with a bunch of other guys at that demonstration. And I was on my way to pick them up with this other person. So we needed to get a bunch of cars to release these people. Anyway, we got a bunch of cars, and this other person with me in the car. So, and then we had another car of a friend behind us. He had a pistol, we didn't. And but the idiot, he shot all his bullets in the air,
Right.
and they realized that now we have nothing.
Right.
So they started coming towards us. And it was like, I was getting ready to use my window cleaner spray and those kind of things to protect myself before I say Shema Israel. And not that we had any chance against hundreds of riots, like
Oh my God.
attackers, yeah. And then one soldier saw us from not from a helicopter, from like a nearby stand. Yeah, and he came and saved our lives until more power came, but it was a great miracle. And the second time I got a Molotov bottle at my car. And thank you so much for taking it to heart.
My problem is I take everything to heart.
Thank you. And so I got a Molotov bottle at the car, and I lost control, and we flipped over.
Oh my God.
And it was a great miracle also, because one of my children just unbelted himself, and I was like, a second earlier, I was like, what do you mean you're unbelted? Put your belt back. And a second later, we flipped. It was like such a miracle. So, yeah, and all of us got totally uninjured, and it was like a total miracle. Yeah. So, yeah. So
Where was that?
This was near Ariel.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Anybody else in a terror attack that got out easy? I was in Hebron for Shabbat, and the people that were staying by me and the hostess went on a Shabbos walk to visit the kever of Ruth.
Ruth?
I think it's Ruth.
Not Ruth.
Ruth?
Hebron? No. Hebron is Avram and
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's Ruth.
no Ruth.
Yeah, it's somewhere deep in
Ruth?
Hebron.
I
Yeah.
never heard of
Okay,
that.
Yeah.
never heard of that either.
Yeah. So little did I know, we should have gone with
Really?
yeah. Because on the way back, there was this Arab who was pelting us with stones.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
But you got away, right? You were in a car?
No, we were walking.
Oh,
It was Shabbat. It was
And
Shabbat.
he was walking, and as he was walking next to my friend.
Well, you could pick up stones and throw them back because they
I
were,
was
they were not
shocked.
observing
I
Shabbat.
was in complete shock. I didn't know what was flying.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So you're also a walking miracle. Yeah. So it's like everything that happens in my life, I think this is the punchline of this. You know, like I could think of how I almost lost this child and how I almost lost that child in another
Right.
situation. And how, you know, I almost lost this pregnancy or that pregnancy or, you know, or I can always look at the trauma or I can look at the miracle that got me out of the trauma.
And
It's what I choose to look at.
And how do you look at the miracle that give out?
You got out of there, right?
So that's a miracle,
Right?
there.
So you can always focus on the trauma or you can focus on the miracle that got you out of there. And the other thing you can focus
I'm always focusing on the trauma.
right, exactly. And the other thing you can focus on is what did Hashem teach me through this story?
Be stronger.
Whatever it is, a million classes that I've learned through my life on it. Right? It's the classes that I've learned and it's the resilience that just, you know, was built in me through all these experiences.
Yeah.
Once you undergo something, it's like think about it as like a marathon or athlete, you know, upgrading, right? Like every time you do something in 2 minutes, or whatever, you do it in 3 minutes, the next time you do it in 2 minutes,
Right.
the next time you do it in 1 minute, right? Or you do 20 kilometers marathon, you do 40 kilometers marathon, you get stronger and stronger. What happens after you do 20 kilometers? You're like, wow, I did 20 kilometers,
Or you can
Right.
pass
I
out
can
right there.
right? And then, so you're like, okay, so 20 kilometers is nothing for me now. I'm so strong. Okay, I want to do 40 kilometers. You do 40 kilometers. Wow, I did 40 kilometers? Wow, I want to do 100 kilometers. They do it now these days, you know,
Right.
right? It takes, obviously, I don't know how many weeks, but they don't do it in one day.
Mhm.
But you know, like you were like, oh, wow, I can do 100 kilometers?
Right.
What can I survive in life? Right? So I'm like, oh, I survived this childhood and this spouse and this trauma and this terror and this and this that. I'm a pretty strong person. And I can focus on that.
Exercised your will.
Because?
Because you've exercised
Exercise
your
your
will.
will.
You
Exactly.
have to practice exercising.
Right, exactly.
Otherwise you lose your will.
Right, right. So it's the will, but it's also the godly light, we call it. Right? I connect to that godly spark within me, and I feel how that godly spark is expanding, is increasing and expanding and filling every atom in me, every emotional atom in me and every physical atom in me. And every time I do something more, I realize, wow, I did not know that I was such a strong person. Right?
Mm-hmm. More
That's how I
power
felt
to
every
you.
day when the sirens were going off and I went out to roll with them every day.
Still go.
So do we.
Ah.
But this is when we were told to stay in our apartments and people were
Yeah,
afraid. And
yeah.
Right, how afraid we were in the beginning versus how afraid we were towards the end.
Yeah.
Right? We got used to it. How many people tell me today if the siren goes off, I don't even go to the shelter anymore?
Right.
You ain't got
Right?
If the first question you ask is what direction did it come from, and then you know if you should go to the shelter.
Right? Because I think there's a certain instinct within us that is also telling us, I don't want to be afraid all the time.
Right.
Right.
I don't want to be anxious all the time.
No.
So I want to turn on that healthy mechanism within me, that that amygdala that is responding to my in my flight or fight mode, creating that flight or fight mode in me. I want to learn to control it, right? To be aware of it and to learn to control it. To say to myself, it's not worth it. My sanity is not less important than my physical well-being.
That's right.
So once I learned to do that, and I learned to see how strong emotionally, how resilient emotionally I am, just like that athlete learns about his physical abilities, right? I learned more and more through life's experience and traumas about my emotional abilities.
Yeah, because we're hardwired for struggle.
Right.
That's the way Hashem made us.
Right. And that's what we want to be able to tell ourselves. It's what we want to be able to tell our children.
Yeah.
It's when we want to be able to tell all those people that are feeling like they're really ready to give up on life.
Yeah.
God forbid. Or if we have a moment when we're ready to give up on life, we want to be able to tell ourselves, yes, I've been through those moments, but you know what? This moment is going to pass too. How long did I really feel so crappy for how long did I feel that crappy that I wanted to give up on life last time?
Right.
5 minutes? 15? A day?
Right.
Then something happened, something made me feel better. I was getting stronger again. Good miracles happened, good surprises came into my life. A good friend came to my life.
God deflected 200-300 missiles on the way over here, came into our lives.
No, but I'm talking now about the good things.
I am talking about the good things.
You mean the 200 and 300 missiles that we stayed
Never
alive
made it
through,
here.
that never made it here. Right. But I'm just talking about the length of period. Every time I feel the worst, I think this is going to last forever. This crappy feeling is going to last forever.
Yeah.
If I can tell myself in those moments, last time was bad, but it passed.
Right.
Something good happened
That's
after 5 minutes, after 15 minutes, after a day.
Yeah, but look at
Right?
these kids in the army. I mean, how many of them commit suicide?
Why? Because nobody's teaching them that.
Yeah.
Because what we're teaching them is the trauma is the worst thing in the world.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're teaching them to blame
To be victims.
to
Yeah.
blame the system for not taking care of them, for not putting budgets in them.
Right.
But in the end, my life is in my hands.
Right.
My life is not in the system's hand.
Right.
I could also be sitting blaming the system for not protecting me from those terror attacks and for not giving me therapy money after that.
Right.
But in the end, it's my life. It's my hands, whether the system will sponsor my healing or not. It's my decision if I want to heal. And everybody can find a way to heal.
Yes.
And that's what we want to teach our children. It's regardless of who did what to you and ourselves, first of all. It's regardless of what had happened to me, I can heal.
Yeah, resilience is the ultimate gift.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like one of the beautiful stories is about this, one of Reb Nachman's beautiful stories is about this guy who dreamt that this treasure is on the other side of the world. He goes to the other side of the world and he's looking for the treasure. And under this bridge, he's digging and he's looking for the treasure, right? And this guy comes over and he says, "What are you looking for?" He says, "I had in my dream that there's a treasure here under the bridge." He says, "Interesting. because I had a dream that I need to go to this and this place, to this and that house, and that there's a treasure under that house. He goes, that's my house, right?
Yep.
So, right. So it's like you always think that the treasure is somewhere else, but the treasure is in your consciousness. The treasure is in your heart. The treasure is in the words that you will tell yourself to make yourself stronger.
Yeah. Some people can't make themselves stronger though. Well, my mother
Everybody
was
can.
very ill and she had an amazing marriage. But she couldn't live without my father. She didn't want to live without. I guess it was her choice.
It's not.
Sounds
It's schooling.
familiar, Sippy.
It's what?
It's schooling. It's emotional schooling. That's what it is. And the more life progresses, right? It's like, I can't even say it's in the hands of your psychotherapist. It's not even in the hands of your psychotherapist. It's in my hands. It's in your hands. It's in what you're going to tell yourself in those moments. There's all these things that you can tell yourself. Like we said, you can tell yourself, it passed last time, it will pass. Those awful moments of I can't live right now, I don't want to live anymore, I don't have a reason to live anymore, will pass also.
You know, it's funny, when you really look at that, you realize, where is this coming from? It's like, why do I have such an extreme reaction? If you really stop and look at the feeling, where is this coming from? Or even try to relate it to a previous time where you had that same feeling. Like, why am I having this feeling in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that you can look at it differently. That the feeling is going to pass, and it may not have. This is a big revelation for me now. It may have nothing to do with what's happening right now. It can be just a throwback of something that I experienced when I was younger. And
Right.
I could be experiencing or feeling something different right now.
And we're being
Situation I'm
triggered
in.
by something that is happening now, maybe. We're not even conscious of what triggered it,
Yes.
right? But I'm feeling crappy. And then I hear it over and over from people who experience anxiety and panic attacks, is that, I don't know what triggers it. Nothing triggers it. It just comes and goes. No, nowadays we know what triggers it. It could be, even your hunger could trigger it.
Your who?
Too
Your
many
hunger.
face-to-face.
I thought you said
Your
your
hunger.
hamburger.
No, your hunger. Just your physical hunger can
Or your
trigger
hormones or
also, but your hormones is already something very abstract, and you're like, how do I control my hormones? So we need to deconstruct that too. We need to break it down to pieces too. What do you mean hormones? Hormones is not such a big word. There's basically one hormone that you need to reduce, and all these other hormones that you need to increase. The hormone that you need to reduce is cortisol. And all these other good hormones, you need to either balance or increase to feel good. So it's like when you come to a doctor and he tells you you have an hormonal deficiency or a hormonal disbalance. All that he's saying is like coming to a Kabbalist and him throwing all these big words at you. Or the
Right.
spiritual guru throwing all these big words at you, right? You have to. So it's like, but you can break it down to pieces. Now we know it could be that you weren't drinking and your flight and fight mechanism was just throwing a fit at you because your body is feeling like dehydrated and is feeling like this flight or fight mode because you're not taking care of its survival basic needs. Same thing with hunger. Same thing with love, by the way, because love is the hormone of oxytocin, and it's a very basic foundational need for us to be loved. So you think I'm not being loved, I'm doomed. I don't have a spouse or I have a bad spouse, so I'm doomed. But no, you can be loved,
What?
right?
Look at
So how you can take care of that in a very easy way, in a very simple way.
Yeah, tell me.
First of all, you have a friend. First of all, you have a friend. Everybody, most of us have a friend we can call, right?
I did that this past week.
Right? And if we can't call a friend, we can also be our own friend. And we can actually do something like that, right? And we'll tell myself, hey, you're amazing. You know, you've been through all that in life and you survived and you're such a strong person. And you know what? I'm mothering you now, right? I'm the hurting child, but I'm also the mother in this case. I can take the mother's role for a moment and I can embrace myself and I can say to myself, hey, I love you. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You did so much in life. So if people are putting you down, so what? Right? Now you're actually increasing your oxytocin that way, believe it or not less than with the best spouse in the world.
Really?
Yes.
I thought I needed a hug.
No, of course we want more love. The more the merrier. God forbid. God forbid, of course the more the merrier. But sometimes that's what we need in life, right?
You know, you can do the same thing.
The men don't do that. We blow up buildings.
The science, the research that we have these days on how to make ourselves feel better, the understanding of how our hormonal imbalance is working is so much richer and greater than ever before. So much more accessible to anybody. You can go and learn on it endlessly online. Endlessly. There's so much information
Is
on
there
it.
something you recommend? Because there's a lot of junk out there also.
I can send you a bunch of things. Remind me later and I'll send you a bunch of things. Yeah.
I used to get panic attacks. It was
I
terrible.
still.
Yeah, but then they stopped.
Well, you just would hit me in the shoulder. And
And they stopped.
I get them.
What do you think you did to make them stop?
When was that?
Was it just God's spark that hit you?
Say it again?
Do you think it was just God's spark that hit you? Or do you think that you did something? Just God's spark.
I think I learned to master my anxiety a little bit better.
So how do you do it?
I'm an anxious person in general, but in some ways it's a gift because I'm a sensitive person.
So what did you tell yourself to master your anxiety a little bit better?
That I was ready to move on. I didn't want to. I used to get really bad panic attacks.
Did you know her? She was having these.
We were married,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But many spouses have no idea how to deal with their spouse's panic attacks or anxiety attacks. Right, and it's not to blame. It's just that, we could really be completely clueless about how to run our spouse's panic or anxiety attacks. Yeah.
You don't know how to empathize initially. You don't know because when you're, first of all, from a male perspective, it doesn't make sense. If you're angry or if you're having a panic attack, you physically do something. And women don't physically do something. Women need to talk about it or emote.
I think
women can talk men to death. And because all the male wants to do is fix it. And so there's a way that if you're a male, there's a way to fix it. You can smack a wall, you can go play some
This is from
competitive
never
sports.
had a panic attack.
I think that also us Jews, especially us Jews, we have a tendency to be less emotionally engaged, which makes us, I think so, because I think that we developed this mechanism of, because of everything that our nation has gone through, I mean the whole world, but has gone through this sort of metamorphosis of emotionally disengaging. But I think us Jews, maybe we did it a bit more than others, which is when you get through too much, if you're not aware of fixing it inside your consciousness, you get emotionally disconnected, disengaged. That's what happened in a shock condition also, by the way. In a way, we're a shocked society. Our because
Jewish
too much, yes. And if we don't work on ourselves to heal ourselves, we,
It seeps out
exactly.
and manifests
And-
in other
and it's-
ways.
And we cover up with it with wisdom and knowledge. And we disbalance ourselves, like we said, in the davening we say in the morning, Rashit Chochma Yirat Hashem. The beginning of all wisdom is the awe of Hashem. But remember, I told you many times, Yirah should be also read as Re'iyah, a sight of Hashem. So I can think that my wisdom of all this, like we're always so proud here about our technological wisdom and our medicinal wisdom and this wisdom and that wisdom, right? And we forget about emotional wisdom. And Yirat Hashem in the end is EQ, emotional intelligence. That's what Yirat Hashem is.
Oh, that's
The awe of Hashem is
interesting.
emotional intelligence.
That's interesting.
And we're very bad with emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we need to improve our emotional intelligence. We need to be aware of the fact that as smart as we are, we want to improve our emotional intelligence.
It's not so easy.
No.
I have a book called Emotional Intelligence. The
But what
Emotional
drove you in the
Intelligence.
end, I'm asking, or I'm assuming maybe, what drove you to, to fix yourself or to help yourself is you're like, I'm not willing to live like that to the last day of my life, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna, maybe I can't run the circumstances, I can't change the circumstances, but I can change how I feel about the circumstances.
Right.
Right.
Some Jew that was in a concentration camp said that in
Ooh.
between
Big
your
difference.
stimulus and reaction, there's a space.
Yeah.
And in that space is your freedom.
And I think this is what it means, halal hapanui. When we talk in Kabbalah about the vacuum, the void, I think this is exactly what it is. That void is that place where you don't see God to seeing God, which is I don't see God because the circumstances are so helpless, frightening, sad, to I see God because I decide to change my attitude.
Yeah. You don't know it's your attitude though when you're going through it, I don't think.
But when you learn to focus on it, like I can only, testify for myself, right? Like at some point when I acknowledged that I had an anger issue, and I was like, I'm not getting angry. I don't care what happened. My anger issue is the most important thing in the world because it's going to kill me.
Uh-huh.
So no matter what happens, I'm not angry, right? So you could say, what? You made yourself into what? You numbed yourself? You, so to speak, emasculated your emotions,
Uh-huh.
right? But no, I decided what's important to me. Is the omelet burning more important than my emotional condition? Is not having enough money in the bank more important than my emotional condition? Is my child doing this or that more important than me losing my temper and not being able to educate them towards a certain behavior that I want to, right? Am I actually catching up with what I want to teach them when I get angry at them? Right? So it's like once you understand that your anger actually takes you further away from your purpose, right? Then you realize that you realize first of all why it's called avodah zarah,
Yeah, you do.
right?
There is no God when you're angry. You're just worshiping.
But
you.
not only that, you're not worshiping the cause that you're angry because of.
Uh-huh.
That's the zara. That's the foreign work. The work is the cause that you want to achieve, and you're getting further away from the cause by getting angry. So once you realize you do that 1 + 1 and you do that math, right?
Right.
You realize it's getting me away from my purpose. So I'm struggling, or I'm paying twice.
Right.
Once my purpose is not caught up with or not achieved, and once is my blood pressure goes up into heaven, right?
Right.
and I'm just like, I'm maybe even out for half a day, maybe more. Who knows how long it takes me to come back to reality, right? To life, to focus, to breathing well, right? To being able to function normally. Is it worth it? Right? So it's like once you realize you do that math and you're like, okay, what's my first priority? My first priority is that I'm not getting angry. Then I can think to my next priority, to my next secondary uh, uh, cause on the list, which is what I want to get, which is what gets me angry. Now I can think wisely how I want to achieve that without anger, right?
Right.
So anything with it's, and it goes on and on with everything. It goes with my depression. It goes with my anxiety. It goes with my panic attacks. It goes with everything that makes me sad. I don't need to go to clinical depression to understand that I don't want to get sad, because once I realize that every small sadness, if I let it escalate, it will get to clinical depression, right? So I can let myself be mourn something for 5 minutes, maybe something I will let myself mourn a whole day, right?
Yeah.
Or, like we say, with mourning laws, right? We give ourselves a week, a month, a year. That's that. What do you have after that? The mitzvah of forgetting.
Of forgetting?
Forgetting. After a year a person is dead, you have the mitzvah of forgetting them until their next yortzeit.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is the wisest mitzvah in the world, which can teach us so much about mourning and forgetting everything in our lives.
You
How?
give it a year.
Yeah, you give it a year. Yeah. The first year, you're mourning.
Right.
You're mourning and you're actively mourning. Right? But then you're actively forgetting. Will that forgetfulness actually go along with you? You don't know. Probably the person will get into your head here and there. Right? But you have the mitzvah of working on your consciousness to forget them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish I'd known that when my father died. I wish I had known.
And my husband's still in the mourning period of his mom.
It's still the year. It's still within the year. It's different.
Right, yeah.
Now take that mitzvah of forgetfulness and amplify, or what's the word?
Intensify?
No, impact it on, or understand every kind of mourning that you have in your life, and when you need to add the forgetfulness into there.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Like your failures too, like if you lose
Exactly.
a job.
Exactly. How long am I going to mourn about that?
Leave your
Wow.
apartment,
Right?
or
Right. Does this deserve a 5 minute mourning, a day mourning, a week mourning?
Wow.
But that's that. Right?
Right.
Does it demand intensified 5 minutes and then a lower level for 15 minutes and a lower level for an hour and a lower level for a day? Whatever it is, right? But do that conscious work. Don't just don't just ride on the waves of feelings and tell yourself that what can I do? Anxiety took over me. Depression took over me. Trauma took over me. Nothing takes over us. We let it take over us.
A psychiatrist once told me that depression is anger turned inwards. And I think that's probably
That's a
true.
very wise thing to say, yes.
Yeah?
I think so.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
get depressed, I get anxious.
Like me.
Yeah, anxiety is a bad thing.
I have it, my two sons have it.
Okay, I'll just tell another quick story before we end, to end with a good story. So this is a story about the Maggid of Mezrich, and it's about the verse, "Ubikashtem et misham et Hashem Elokecha u'matzata ki tidrashenu b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha." Ask from there, ask Hashem. Notice the from there. What is from there? From within the depth of you. Ask for Hashem, and you will find Him because you have asked for Him with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. So the Maggid of Mezrich told us a parable about a son of a big governor or king who wasn't respectful towards that king, and the king sent him away. And he had no way of making an income himself. So he made himself like a worker somewhere, and he had like basically no hardly any clothes to wear, and he was walking barefoot. He didn't even have shoes. And one time the king remembered his son, and he told his servant to go and look for his son. And the servant went and looked for the king's son, and found him. And he said, your father is worried about you. What do you want me to ask your father for?" So he said to him, well, he threw me out of the house. At least he should give me some decent clothing and decent shoes. So the servant of the king told him, "You stupid. Your father is missing you, and all you can ask for is a decent piece of clothing and some shoes. You should ask the most important thing, is that you want to come back to your father. You should show him that you're missing him too, right?" So this is basically correlates with the story of this is what Moshe Rabbeinu again is teaching us. We come to Hashem and we're like, we want Eretz Israel. We want all the Arabs to stop whatever making us horror here, right? We want whatever it is. But what we want to ask really is, Hashem, we want to come back to you. And it's interesting that it's in this parsha, Va'etchanan, because this is a Tu B'Av. Sorry, that Va'etchanan is in Nachamu, in Tu B'Av, right? Which is the time that we're celebrating the basically, I don't like calling it the Valentine's, the Jewish Valentine's, right? But the day of love, right? But it's not just the day of romantic love, it's the day of our love with Hashem, which is also recognized as a romantic love, because we want to understand that our love, we give so much significance to romantic love, that we want to understand that we want to connect to Hashem just like in our minds we connect to romantic love. So we're saying to Hashem, yes, we want parnasa, and yes, we want health, and yes, we want terror to stop in Israel, and yes, we want Jewish governing here, true Jewish governing here, and yes, we want all these things. But we want Beis HaMikdash. We want Mashiach. We want you, Hashem. We want it true, that above all, above Mashiach and above even Mashiach and the Holy Temple is a physical thing to ask for. Really, the ultimate thing that we want to ask Hashem for, we want to be close to you. We want to remember that in every moment we have our connection. That's what we're missing. We're missing the connection, right? It's like you're living in a palace, right? Anybody who's experienced a not so good marriage, you're living in a palace and you're like, if there's no love in this palace, the palace is worthless, right? So in a way, we're also saying that to Hashem this week. Thank you for this beautiful world. Yes, it's missing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but above all, it's missing the love. We want to connect to you, Hashem. Let us reconnect with you.
That was great.